So, a while back, I heard a story about certain criminals in Ireland being arrested because the police had cracked their encrypted communications. I was interested at the time because I just didn't know exactly how it was that they managed to crack it, or if they used some sort of backdoor, or what exactly it was. Recently, my curiosity has been piqued again because one of the leaders of the Kinahan cartel, Liam Byrne, has been arrested in Minorca. And according to the media, it was because, again, encrypted communication was cracked by police. So, for those of you who don't know, the Kinahan cartel are probably the largest drug cartel in Europe. Well, they certainly are in Ireland. They're responsible for a lot of deaths both in Ireland and abroad. They've came into the spotlight in the international community just because they're associated with a lot of these boxing promotions. They put a threat out of McGregor. They put a hit in his head for a while, so they kind of came into focus and people started to pay more attention to them. The Kinahans themselves are all living in Dubai, or most of the top leaders are living in Dubai anyway, because it doesn't have any extradition to the United States or any other European countries, so they can't really face jail time for any of their crimes. So, according to the official statement, Liam Byrne was using EncroChat. For those of you who don't know, EncroChat is a communication network and it's a service provider. It's primarily used by criminals because they promise to have completely encrypted communications. What they do is they offer carbon units, as they call them, which are essentially just BlackBerry devices or some other Android device that has a lot of the hardware taken out of it, so it doesn't have a camera, it doesn't have a GPS or a microphone, example. All these things that could potentially be used to exploit your phone, for example. On top of that, they also provide communication services that are supposedly supposed to be end-to-end encrypted. I say supposedly, but we'll get into that later. The devices themselves allegedly cost about £1,000, and for 6 months of service was €1,500. There's a kind of a grey area between whether they were a legit or illicit company, I guess you could say. The service itself was discovered by French police in 2017 because they kept finding these phones when they were raiding known criminals. But it wasn't until 2020 that a French judge allowed for the servers to be infiltrated. The servers at the time were based in France. We're not exactly sure what happened, but according to the authorities, some malware was placed somewhere in the servers that would allow them to read encrypted messages. I read somewhere that they used their own encryption protocols as opposed to some sort of international standard, similar to what Telegram does, which that's another story in and of itself that we're not going to touch today. But it could have also been that the services wasn't as end-to-end encrypted as people thought they were. To be honest, we're not actually ever going to really know for sure unless someone comes forward, I don't think. But yeah, it was reported since 2020 that the EncroChat was compromised. It's led to countless arrests all across Europe. I think in the UK there was allegedly 10,000 users plus. So as mentioned before, Liam lived in Dubai with a lot of the other higher-end cartel members. The British National Crime Agency alerted the Spanish police that Liam was actually going to be coming to Spain. Others have had warrants out for their arrests for years now, so this is why they fled to Dubai in the first place. And again, according to authorities, it was because he used EncroChat, which, I mean, we talk about bad OPSEC. This is... we talk about bad OPSEC all the time, but using something that has been known to be compromised for 2 years now and still using it is just ridiculous. So he was apparently coming to Spain for some sort of family dinner, and when he arrived in Spain, the Spanish authorities just arrested him. So this wasn't the only encrypted communications and service provider around. Sky ECC was another one that was compromised a while back. It was based in Canada, but funnily enough, they had their servers in the exact same place or around the same region as EncroChat did. Another very commonly known one is Phantom Secure, that again was based in Canada. This could be an entire video in and of itself. Allegedly, the founder of it, after getting involved with cartels and various other groups, faked his death so that the authorities couldn't get to him. Again, allegedly, I don't know much about this. I just remember watching videos of it before. There's various videos about this on YouTube already. The issue with all of this is that it actually doesn't explain my original curiosity about the encrypted messages being read by the Irish police. We've known since the Snowden leaks that various three-letter agencies and governments have had backdoors and have compromised various other online services. Now, with something like someone using EncroChat, that's a very straightforward explanation as to how they got compromised in the first place. But it doesn't really explain these other cases of how other people got compromised by supposedly encrypted messages. I need to go out of my way to say that the people who are caught up in these cases are absolute fucking scumbags. They're not only responsible for various deaths all across Ireland and Europe, they're also responsible for the misery of bringing stuff like crack and heroin into this country. I've absolutely no sympathy for these people, but it does leave the question out as to how authorities are actually accessing encrypted chats like this. Questions about backdoors and other means of encryption being broke, it leaves us to question about how police and governments might be invading privacy of regular people too. You know, in an ideal world where the government represents the actual interests and will of the people, we wouldn't have any need to even talk about this. Most people would have faith in them to actually be responsible and do the right thing in these cases. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in at the moment. I'd be interested to hear more as details come out, but this is just another case of someone not having good operational security, or just basically being technologically illiterate and getting caught by the feds because of it. That's it anyway, thank you, and I'll see you next time.